Hi, Iculus here. I'd like to take just a couple minutes of your time to talk about PeepMode, a melee spectator system for StarCraft 2. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the features in this video, and I'll go into more advanced specifics in other videos, and I'll also talk about commentator mode in other videos. So let's go ahead and jump into the game and check it out.
When PeepMode first starts up, we get a timeout if there are any new players. It says you may observe or play standard melee matches. To observe, just wait for other players to start a match, and to play, click I want to play on the next screen. So once that timeout ends, we come to what's called a face-off. And this is the part of the game where everybody who wants to play just clicks on I want to play, and an avatar will be spawned for them. And hopefully Indigo here is going to get a challenger. And there's Fuji to challenge him. And since there's only two people out on the map, if nobody else volunteers, of course it's just going to be these two playing each other. But if there were more people, then it would select based on how many matches they had played. And there's actually different modes that you can vote on to select players. There's about 6 modes currently. And the system supports 1v1, free-for-all, 2v2 on maps that support that. And here we are in Metalopolis. I'm just going to go ahead and hide observer chat here. Just going to go down to personal options and hide observer chat so that we don't see the chat down here. So I just want to go through the interface real quick. The first thing is betting. When a match starts, you get to select who you think is going to win. And I'm just going to roll over these names here to see who I think is better. I'll go with Fuji. Put a little money toward Fuji there. So I just want to go through the interface. Up here we have the main menus, avatars. This is a menu that you would use to specify what race you wanted to play, what league you are, and to select a specific avatar during a face-off. Right now this is inactive because we're in a match. But if we were in a face-off, then we could click on avatars and specifically select what avatar we wanted. In options, we have a lot of votable options. First is match mode, and you'll see that 7 people are in favor of this, and it requires 5 to change. And this is the default for this map. Then we have the player select mode. Right now it's king versus least played, so whoever won the last match play a player who hasn't who has played the least number of matches. Then we have this other stuff like king versus higher rated, king versus random, least played, higher rated, and just purely random. And everybody can vote on this. By default, we have no close by ground spawns. By default, pets and turf markers are enabled, and I'll show you those in a minute. You can disable camera zooming, which is up here. You can zoom in and out. And if the game gets a little bit laggy, some people with slower machines, if they're zoomed out, will lag the game, so you can vote to disable that. You can also allow players to read observer chat if you want, and you can also vote to end this match. And then there's also an option here to kick a player. If somebody's lagging or being mean, you can kick them there, and that requires 2/3 majority. If we click on personal options, we get some personal options here. So we have the auto cam cooldown. I'll show you the auto cam in a second. In fact, why don't we go ahead and engage the auto cam by clicking there, and it'll just start scrolling around the screen to interesting things. So silent observer chat means you don't get the sound, like that little pingy sound when a chat message comes up, which I always found annoying when trying to watch a match. You can hide observer chat, which I just did. Showing structured text tags. These will display text tags above the name of a building when it's created, such as right there. It says factory. You can hide the name panel if you want, which is this thing at the top of the screen. You can go to an advanced resource panel. So if I click on resources here, it has the default layout. But if I click advanced, it'll switch to give us more options, and it will also highlight who is leading in each category. And then there's advanced avatar selection, which simply means I'll get this avatar screen that I showed you before instead of the I want to play button. So if you're a more advanced player and you want to select your own avatar each time instead of having it randomly selected, you can check that option. I'm going to go back in here, excuse me, and uncheck that. Okay, so that's avatars and options. Now if we go to menu, that's just a standard game menu, so that's how you'd quit from the game. Chat is a custom chat log, which will show you chat of the people who you're currently allowed to see. So if I was playing, I wouldn't be able to see observer chat, for example, in here. And you can actually filter by individual users. Let's say you just wanted to look at what Fuji said. You could just click that and just see what Fuji said. The help is specific to PeepMode, and it's got a drop down with a whole bunch of sections. And I encourage anybody who has any questions about the map to just go in here and read the help. Okay, this drop down lets you share vision with individual players. So let's say I only wanted to view Indigo, then I would just select there. And you'll see on the mini-map that we've lost vision of our opponent. You can also follow individuals if you want to just follow where they're looking at. But I think for the most part, everybody's going to want to observe everyone. And I'll re-enable the auto cam again. So this is an important button here, this cinematic mode. When you click it, it removes the UI at the bottom. It removes some of the main menu items, and it puts the minimap in the lower left corner of the screen. If you want to get rid of the minimap, you can just click that X, and it will remove it completely. And every time you switch in and out of cinematic mode, it'll bring up the map again. You also have this floating clock here, match clock. And you see the betting round 2 just came up, so I'm going to put a little bit more money toward my boy. My boy, yeah! Alright, so we also have keyboard shortcuts for all these. For example, Alt-C is cinematic mode, so I can just toggle back and forth between that. Alt-N is hide the name panel, so I can hide the name panel. Alt-E is full screen mode, so we can go to full screen, and we can also get rid of the name panel if we want absolutely full screen. So I'm going to bring back the name panel, bring back all of our interfaces. So then we have all of our little utilities here. So we have the Blizzard Observer UI. Most people are pretty familiar with that. For example, I think Production tab is probably the most useful. We've got our resources, which I showed you before, and Alt-M switches between those two, and Alt-S brings up and hides the resources. And again, all these hotkeys are listed in help, and you can also just roll over buttons to see what hotkeys they are. So next we have log, which shows you a real-time listing of the actions that are taking place in the game, and you can select what events you want to see, and also what players you want to see. And if you want to go back and look at a history of matches that have occurred in the current game, you can look at history, and it will list out all the matches here, and then all the actions over here. And it has all these filters and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the Blizzard UI. And we've already seen the betting. So last thing is a leaderboard. When you click on this, it brings up a leaderboard showing all players. It shows you their PeepMode rating. Shows you their league, which you can select in the avatars menu. Shows race. It shows number of wins this game. And it shows chips earned. And as you earn chips, you can cash them. And those will carry across games. And you can use those to buy what's called personal bling. So let's look at that. So if you click on avatars, and then you come down here to personal bling, you see that you can have up to 2 pets, and you can have up to 2 turf markers. And if we click buy upgrades, this is the store, and with the money that you've earned playing the game, betting or winning matches, you can buy different things. So face-off avatars, we can get more advanced face-off avatars. We can have pets that hang around our bases while we play. And none of this stuff has any effect on the mechanics of the game. It's purely visual. Then we have turf markers, which we can throw down at various locations around our base, such as a Zerg beacon, or a antelope crossing sign, or a watermelon. And then there's a few perks, such as buying a second pet and buying a second turf marker. And I think our current players here, I don't see any use of these items, but sometimes you'll see smiley faces and things on the ground, and cows wandering around, etc. And those are personal bling. So here's how I prefer to watch. I prefer one click up the zoom and no, in cinematic mode with no UI. And I think it's a really great way to watch the game. The auto cam I continually improve. It makes an attempt to follow the most interesting things that are going on in the game. And for the most part, it does an okay job. Another feature of the map is what's called the Quickie panel. if you click on the Versus button here, it'll bring up what's called the Quickie panel. And the first one is Structures, and it'll show you the structure count and what is currently being built from all the players playing the game. Similarly, the Upgrade grid will show you the upgrades that have been completed and those that are being upgraded. And then we have the standard resource collection rates, unit supply, units killed, and APM tabs here. So these are pretty standard. They come from the replay UIs, but then these are new, the upgrades in the structures panels here. I see commentators, counting structures on the map. Like, how many are there? 8 racks? Well, here you can just go and just see how many there are immediately. And also the upgrades. There's no place in the Blizzard has provided that shows all upgrades that have been done. So I decided to add that as well. And I'll add other UIs here if needed. In general, I'm looking for feedback on the system. What do people like about it? What do people don't like about it? Please feel free to email me, post in the Team Liquid discussion thread. And above all, good luck, have fun. Hearts. Hearts to you. Wait, actually I'm not going to be able to see that because let's get out of cinematic mode and we'll re-enable chat. And then I'll type my hearts. My hearts! Yeah!